If you watch my channel, you know I like to talk about the mythology behind Dragon Ball and also how heavily it's influenced from martial arts. But another huge reason why I got into Dragon Ball is because of its sci-fi elements. And Toriyama is obviously a huge fan of the idea of evolution. Of course, it's a trope in Japanese media for them to play on evolution a lot. I mean, we see that with Godzilla, especially one of the latest iterations of Shin Godzilla, who evolves rapidly as he's trying to survive in his environment. And this is a pretty common trope in Japanese media, so much so that, you can see it in Pokemon, different aspects of Japanese media. They just love to play on the idea of evolution. Well, Dragon Ball is no exception to that. So what I wanted to talk about today is the evolution of the Saiyan race. Now here recently I found this scan from the Dragon Ball GT Perfect Guide, Volume 1, that suggests that the Saiyans themselves evolved from a great ape. So essentially, much like how humans evolved from an ape, Saiyans were originally great apes stomping around, and eventually they evolved to be humanoid, and that's the reason that they are so powerful, despite the fact that they evolved from a race very similar to our ancestors. They evolved from a much more powerful species and compacted down into this humanoid-like creature. And that's a really interesting way to think about how the Saiyan race came to be, which is why I think that little snippet from the GT Perfect Guide, whether you want to consider it canon, quote-unquote, or not, is a really cool way to explain how the Saiyan race came to be. The Universe 6 Saiyans, for example. In the anime's case, Kaba can't remember when they ever had a tail, and in the manga's case, Kaba knew they had a tail, but he is also consciously aware that they all eventually lost them, which means that the tail itself is sort of an indicator of the midway point between the evolution of the Saiyan race as a whole. At one point, they were all giant raging apes, and at another point, they sort of started to gain consciousness, and that's whenever they became the Saiyan race that we know today. And then eventually they evolved to a more humanoid-like state altogether, where they have no tails, and that's essentially what the Universe 6 Saiyans are. They're the Saiyans who have completely reached their evolutionary peak, which is why they no longer have tails. Now in Dragon Ball Z, the reason that Goku's tail doesn't grow back is because Kami removed it. But that's not the reason that Vegeta's tail never grew back. And Akira Toriyama has actually confirmed exactly what the reason is for Vegeta never getting his tail back, and that is because once a Saiyan becomes powerful enough to become a Super Saiyan, the tail is no longer considered a necessary appendage by the Saiyan's body, and as a result, once they lose it, it never grows back once they are ready and capable of becoming a Super Saiyan. And the reason for this is because Super Saiyan is considered a mutation, a accelerated evolution of the Saiyans into a new, more powerful version of what they were before. So Super Saiyan itself is an actual evolution of the Saiyan race. It's a mutation that the Saiyan race can use at will to increase their battle power, and that is the result of the Saiyans themselves being a hyper-evolutionary race. Now, what do I mean by the Saiyans being a hyper-evolutionary race? Well, their ability to adapt in order to survive in real time makes them very different from the humans. Sort of like what I was talking about earlier with Godzilla, except with Dragon Ball, they apply it to battle. They are hyper-evolutionary in the sense that they experience Zenkai, and their body adapts to certain situations in order to make sure they survive said situations when it comes to combat. It's not like some characters you've seen in comics where they literally evolve into a different creature. That's not what's happening. Godzilla sort of does that, like he sort of takes on the necessary traits that he needs to evolve as a whole. But with the Saiyan race, it's all about becoming stronger and having a larger amount of chi. And that is what dictates the evolution of the Saiyan race. We can actually see that this doesn't just apply to the Saiyan race. It actually also applies to the Saiyans from Dragon Ball Super Hero. They have mutated and gained the ability to increase their chi, just like the Super Saiyans, in order to protect themselves in life or death situations. And so the Super Saiyan transformation is sort of treated as the next step of evolution for the Saiyan race. Now let's talk about Super Saiyan 4 for a second. If Super Saiyan is an evolution of the Saiyan race, what is Super Saiyan 4? Well, Super Saiyan 4 is combining what the Saiyans used to be, aka the Great Apes, with what they've become, which is a Super Saiyan. It's taking the past and combining it with the future. It's a mutation in the sense that they are literally combining their ancient primitive DNA, their ancient primitive biology, with their new biology that they've developed over thousands of years. And that is what the Super Saiyan 4 transformation is. Now, in that sense, it is sort of a step backwards in evolution, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. That just means that it's basically taking advantage of the best of both worlds. It's taking advantage of that primitive power that the Saiyans used to have as a great ape and combining it with the new evolutionary traits of a more advanced form of Saiyans as a life form. Now, in Dragon Ball Super, things went forward in evolution rather than backwards. Super Saiyan Blue has been stated to be an evolution multiple times in different guides, and Super Saiyan God is as well within the context of the idea that Chi itself actually fosters evolution in Saiyans. We can actually see this with Bardock whenever he immerses himself into a state of fight or flight and uses his heart beating rapidly in battle to basically trick his body into thinking that his life is in danger. Even though it was, this is something that the Saiyans can take advantage of to evolve rapidly in battle. Their body, perceiving that they are in danger, is what causes them to evolve mid-battle, which is why it was so important for Bardock to take advantage of his heart racing in the heat of battle for him to evolve and grow stronger. And then Goku later uses it again in Dragon Ball Super with his version of Ultra Instinct, except in his version of Ultra Instinct, he actually combines this effect that the Saiyans have whenever their heart is going crazy in battle to take advantage of the adaptation rate of the Saiyans that comes with their body recognizing that they're in danger. So Goku's version of Ultra Instinct in that sense is just combining what the Saiyans use to evolve as a species with the calm mind that's associated with the other part of Goku's nature as an Earthling. Despite the fact that Goku's heart conflicts with the idea of Ultra Instinct, due to the fact that Goku was raised as an Earthling, his mind actually complements the use of Ultra Instinct, and so he combines the two to create his own unique version of Ultra Instinct, filling in the void that Ultra Instinct Omen had in terms of its use. Due to the fact that he couldn't take advantage of his heart beating rapidly in battle in the same way, this allows him to use Omen in a more effective way, taking advantage of the Saiyan's ability to evolve at an accelerated rate. Now, in the case of Ultra Ego, you can also sort of consider this taking advantage of the primitive Saiyan biology that Goku takes advantage of for his version of Ultra Instinct. Also Super Saiyan, the state that Bardock took advantage of, the Ikari state. The one thing that's associated with all of these transformations, from Super Saiyan, where rage causes their heart to ignite their power, Bardock's state, where he takes advantage of his heart beating rapidly in battle without giving in to his emotions, which causes him to immerse himself in his ability to adapt in battle and take advantage of the Saiyans' ability to break their limits and grow stronger. Ultra Ego and Goku's version of Ultra Instinct both take advantage of very, very similar ideas. And so does Broly's Ikari state. They all take advantage of the Saiyans' ability to use their body thinking that their life is in danger in order to evolve rapidly. They all have their own method of doing this. Super Saiyan, Bardock's state, Ultra Instinct, Ultra Ego, etc. They all have their own way of taking advantage of Saiyan biology, but they are all the same in the sense that they are mutations that happen as a result of the Saiyan's ability to evolve and adapt at an accelerated rate due to their body naturally realizing that their life is in danger, and so out of necessity, they grow as strong, fast, powerful, agile, etc. as they need to in order to come out of a combat scenario with their lives. And so the Saiyan race is capable of evolving at a faster rate if they can take advantage of their body's ability to immerse themselves in battle, take advantage of their heart rate, telling them that their body is in danger, and then taking advantage of the danger itself and the effect that it has on their body, which tells their body what exactly it needs to do to evolve and adapt to the situation that they're in. And that's the reason that Bardock's approach to battle was so genius. Despite the fact that he was essentially a barbarian, he was taking advantage of Saiyan biology in a way that we really haven't seen since Goku, and Goku had never done it in a conscious way in the same way that Bardock did. Goku was just trying to break his limits as a martial artist. He wasn't thinking about it from an evolutionary biological standpoint. And even Vegeta is well known for taking advantage of Zenkai in battle. He was the first to make the concept very clear in Dragon Ball Z, but never like Bardock. We've never seen Vegeta take advantage of the Saiyan's heart racing in battle and causing an accelerated rate of evolution and adaptation for them. We've only seen him use being hurt and then recovering from it until Ultra Ego. Bardock actually understood how to take advantage of what the Saiyans needed in order to evolve and grow as a species. Now, sadly, he never got to see this all the way through because his tail grows back in Dragon Ball Super, which means he never reached the power level that he needed to ascend into a Super Saiyan. But Bardock was extremely powerful for a low-class warrior by taking advantage of the Saiyan's ability to evolve rapidly in battle. And that is actually one of the things about the Saiyans that I particularly love, not to mention the fact that Akira Toriyama manages to blend this with martial arts based and spiritual based themes. The Saiyans all being able to adapt and evolve rapidly in battle makes them a really cool species, and the whole idea, the underlying themes of evolution that surround the Saiyan race has always made them one of my favorite in fiction. I just think that they're super cool, and I have to give props to Akira Toriyama for being so creative and coming up with such a cool concept. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.